So, hi everybody. How are you today? It's so good to see you all. It's wonderful to be able to be with you guys again. And yeah, I'm Trish from Unity of Sebring, and I have to laugh because this morning I changed the time of your service in my head alone, and actually ran out of my service before they did the peace song, which we end with, because it was running long, and I was just sure I was going to be late getting here to do this. So I got my mom and jumbled us both out of here. And I'm texting Judy and furiously saying, I'm on my way. I'm going to be coming in at the very last second. I thought you guys started at noon my time and you start at 12:30 my time. So I frantically ran home and then got to sit here and watch you congregate and gather and everything else. So I will remember that for next time if there's ever a next time, and I will apologize to everybody that I ran out on it today. But so it's wonderful to be with you guys, and it's the week of Thanksgiving. I mean, like, can you believe it? I don't know who hit the fast forward button on the year, but I know it just feels like it was summer, and now all of a sudden I need to get my Christmas decorations out and get them up this week. So, but I wanted to talk today about gratitude. What a surprise, right? Because we're headed toward Thanksgiving. But I also wanted to talk to us about something that can happen at the holidays, which is families gather around tables. And that sounds like such a great idea. And sometimes in practice, it doesn't feel as great of an idea in practice as it is when we think about the lovely Hallmark movies that we watch, and when everybody seems to be so seamless. And well, okay, maybe they aren't in those movies either, but you know it's a great opportunity for us to look at our relationship to gratitude and to look deeper kind of into our relationship with life, because there's one of the biggest gifts for me of the unity belief system. And Deb and I were talking about this even before service today, is we all call it in our unity, your belief system is your BS. And so that can be something that helps you. There's great BS, and there's BS that smells really bad because it's not good for us, right? So it's always a good idea to be very familiar with our own BS, with our own belief system, with what's driving, because that's what's creating everything that happens in the outside of us. Because we know in unity, we're inside God. God's the whole thing. We're a part of God. We are, if you want to say, a cell in the body of Godness. We are included inside God. Can't be outside of God. We can't get away from it. It's not something that we're reaching for because it's out there somewhere, or it's some old white dude sitting on a cloud somewhere messing with us or rewarding us or punishing us. That's not what unity believes about Godness. Unity believes that God is the allness. We're all inside of it, and we're all a part of it. You're breathing God in every breath that you breathe. So on those times when we're feeling alienated or on our own or alone, or when we're feeling that somebody else is outside of that experience or that Godness, it's a good opportunity for us to realize or to examine, do we believe that? Do we believe that God is the allness and that we're all included in that allness? If that is your belief, then you're able to transform things that maybe others wouldn't be able to transform because of what we're believing. Because the thing is, when we get to those Thanksgiving dinners, and I've heard it, we've talked about it for a couple of weeks at my unity. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so much fun. However, I know that if Aunt Marge is there, we're not allowed to discuss politics because Aunt Marge believes differently in politics than every one of us does, and there's going to be a big fight. Or we can't talk about what Dad did when we were 35, and we can't talk about this, and we can't. So people get into the limitations of what they're allowed to say or what they're allowed to be or what they're allowed to do based on what somebody else is going to do. And we can't control anybody else out there. Heck, part of the times it doesn't even seem like we control ourselves, like the way we respond to things is based on what we believe about them. So between now and Thanksgiving, you have plenty of time to examine your entire belief system and figure out why you're believing what you're believing, so that when you get to Thanksgiving dinner, you'll just be at peace, right? Okay, maybe I'm setting us up for a little bit of a too much, but the idea is the more we know about why we do what we do, that gives us the freedom to take a second, because there's reaction and there's response. And the idea is not to be in knee-jerk reactivity all the time, to be able to have the inner monitoring, the inner processes, so that if Uncle John says that thing that he always says that sets us off every single year, we don't have to take that invitation to fight this year. We don't have to, because it doesn't do the same thing to us that it did before. Not that Uncle John has changed any. The only change that can happen for us that makes any difference is what happens in here. And so I was counseling with one of my congregants this week, and she said to me, okay, so let me see if I got this straight. She said, here's what this whole unity thing is. She's new to unity. And she said, this whole unity thing is starting to feel like I'm just going to spend my entire rest of my life healing from things. And she said, I don't know if I got that in me. She said, I don't know if I want to spend every day digging in the dirt to figure out what's wrong so that I can heal it. And I said, yes and no. Yeah, you're probably going to spend the rest of your life healing if you're in unity. But it's not going to be this drudge, this thing that you wake up in the morning and feel like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I've got to heal these 4 things today because, I want to be able to deal with people. No, it's about when the triggers happen. It doesn't mean they're ever going to stop, because we're human. As long as we're in skin, things are going to trigger us. Certain people are going to trigger us. The gift that unity gives us, and the understanding that it's all happening in God, the gift that gives us, is that we can say, all right, so if this person does this thing, doesn't bother me at all. I don't have any response to it. If this person does it, it gets on my last nerve and drives me to distraction. Why? In unity, we know that we are within Godness, that we have this ability to pause, and that we can change our relationship to the fact that that's the case, that this person drives us crazy and this person doesn't. We get to take a step back, take a breath. I think it was Viktor Frankl that said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. So we don't have to go right into reaction. Between the stimulus and what we intend to do about whatever that is, there's this pause possibility where we get to take a breath and go, okay, instead of seeing that thing that triggers us as something we got to get away from or we want to avoid, if we know it's all happening in God, we go, okay, there's a reason for this. There's a reason this is driving me crazy. And it's probably something that needs to be healed in here. Because I got news for all of us. Anything that anyone else does, even if it's directed at you, has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with where they are at with what's going on inside of them and how much they understand what buttons are being pushed, or if they're just reflexively going into having their buttons pushed. So it gives us the opportunity in unity to really look at what happens between that stimulus and that response. It gives us the opportunity to change our relationship with things that trigger us, and where we can go, oh, it's that little notification ding on our cell phone. That thing is popping up again going, ding. chime, here it is, it's bugging me again. Let me look at that. Let me see where it's coming from. Let me see what's happening. Because I want to live in gratitude. I want to be grateful for going home for Thanksgiving with this family of mine that is beautifully flawed and crazy and wonderful and all of these things. This year, I've started dating. I'm almost 4 years out from the death of my husband. It took me three and a half of those to get to the point where I could think of dating. Well, I'm dating now, and in December, we are going to have the meeting of the kids. When you're younger, you go home and meet the parents. We're 60, so we meet the kids. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my family is loud, they're slightly ridiculous, my daughter talks like a trucker, I mean, like, it's like, there's all these things that are coming up in my consciousness, like, they'll say, oh, don't laugh but meet the family. Well, here it is. And we decided to bite it all off at once, and his son is coming, my kids are coming, his brother's coming, we're all going to come to the same place and meet at the same time. So I can be walking around thinking I have to control everyone's behavior and have everyone show up in a certain way, where I can realize that we are all complex beings created by the things that have happened in our lives to respond to certain things in certain ways, and that I get to choose what I do in the mix of all of this. We can get back to a really core belief to discuss all of this. The joke, the eternal question, is the glass half empty or half full? Well, I love this illustration because something for us to know, and it's funny because we'll pigeonhole ourselves into these spaces depending on whether we believe the glass is half empty or the glass is half full. Oh, if it's half full, you're an optimist. Congratulations, you won the lottery of life. You get to see the bright side of everything. And, maybe, maybe not. Or if it's half empty for you, oh, you poor baby, you're going to spend your whole life thinking how horrible life is. No, it's not necessarily the case, and neither one of those things is true. The next time anyone brings this half empty, half full illustration to you, you can assure everyone that the glass is always full. It just depends on what's inside of it. This glass happens to be half full with water and half full of air. And so it just depends on what you are looking at, what your perception shows you about life. So if we always know, and beyond that, I've heard people say, who cares whether the glass is half empty or half full? The glass is refillable. So it's something to know about our outlook in life. Our outlook is everything. Our beliefs make our life. People do what they do because of what's happening inside of them. What we do in response is because of what's happening in us. So if we can get real clear that it's not our job to be the world police, that we don't have to fix anyone, we don't have to make anyone be something that they're not, that everyone else in life is going to respond to them the way they're going to respond, and it is not our job to make sure that works out for everybody. We can be peacemakers, we can be helpers, usually only if we're pretty clear in here that we don't have to fix it. When this big gathering of family happens, my boyfriend met some of my Unity people because he's a snowbird. He was in Tennessee. They were in Tennessee, and they met one another in Tennessee. And he said to me, oh my gosh, how should I act? And I said, you should act exactly the way that you are. Be 100% you, because I want them to meet you, not some other guy that I don't know. I mean, that's important. Each one of us is this complex little ball of idiosyncrasies and wounds and healings and all of these little things. And especially when it comes to pairing up in groups of friends or pairing up as partners or anything like that, there's somebody out there that sees our idiosyncrasies and thinks they're the most adorable thing in the world. And if we hide them and try not to be who we are, they don't get the opportunity to do that. And we don't get the opportunity to do that. See, if we can just get that it's not our responsibility to make anyone else's experience happen, it frees us in ways that change everything. Because here it is. So things happen. We believe things about those things that happen. And then what we're believing causes us to think certain thoughts inside of us. And those thoughts inside of us make things happen outside of us. So things happen. We think things about those things. Those things make us do things. And then other things happen in the world because of it. That string of things can happen unconsciously or consciously. We are invited into looking at why does that drive me nuts? Why do I love that? Where do those things happen? And when we do that, our lens shifts. And I don't mean like, why? I'm not asking you to angst over why things are happening. I'm asking you to loosen your grip a little bit and get curious. Why is that a trigger for me? And give yourself the time and space to go in the quiet or the silence or just take a moment apart and to think, so why does that bother me? What is it about it? Can I figure out when that started to happen for me? Why does it bug the crap out of me that starts to happen? And the further back and the further in that we're able to explore that trigger without judging ourselves and without judging the other person. Okay. Just a curiosity. Can we meet what's happening inside of us with curiosity? Genuine notification ding, something's happening. I wonder why. I'm allowed to get mad. I'm allowed to get scared. I'm allowed to get sad. I'm in a human skin, and those things come with being inside a human skin. So if this is the way I'm feeling about it, but some of those feelings feel better for me and create a better life for me. And some of those things aren't as healthy for the way that I show up. So if I notice that I'm feeling sick to my stomach, or I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling like I got to fix that other person, notification ding, take a step back. What might, just get curious, what might make that be that way for me? If we can meet it with genuine curiosity, we can trail it back, follow the thread back, often to at least the last 20 times it happened, or at least 30 times it happened, right? Sometimes those would be 30 times across years, and sometimes it'd be the day. But if we can keep following it back and give ourselves permission to do that, we don't like to feel discomfort. I don't want to feel discomfort. I don't want to be uncomfortable all my life. And so often, the next freeing thing, the next growth spurt, the next thriving possibility is all the way through that discomfort. And so if we're not afraid of discomfort, pain is pain. Pain is pain. And I don't mean to be dismissive about that, but the pain is the pain that, and especially if we're thinking about something that happened in the past, you already made it through. You're here now. You're not there. So you made it through this. So if something is happening and it's triggering something, give yourself the space and time and permission to go, where'd that start? What hurt me that made this a trigger? Where did it start? Oh, okay. Well, my mom told me to shut up when I was 5 because I did such and such, or that I was too loud, or my grandparents told me, or whatever it is. Follow it back if you can follow it back, and give that part of you that has dealt with that for all of these years a giant hug and a bunch of love and say, thank you so much for dealing with this for me all these years. I don't need you to do that anymore because I'm here now. And I'm here now. I'm not stuck back there anymore. I can hold this. It happened, it hurt, or it was scary, or whatever it did. I've made it through. And you know what? I don't think I want to have that knee jerk reaction every time this happens anymore. So thank you for being there, for being my protector, for being my soldier, for always jumping out there ready to fight for me when so and so does that thing that triggers me. I think I'm okay. I don't think I need to respond that way anymore. I think I've made it through. And you know what? I know when they did that and it hurt me, it was about them in the first place. So I don't need you to hold this for me anymore. I can hold it now and I can move forward without it hurting me now. Without it hurting me now. Just changing that relationship from I gotta fix or I gotta react or I gotta respond to I'm here right now. This is a notification ding that's telling me there's something here for me to look at, but I'm okay right now. And I can choose my response instead of reacting because I know that this is all happening in God. This person is doing the very best they can. Now, that does not mean that every person belongs in our lives doing things that would hurt us on a continual basis. That's something that I see some people in Unity confusing. Oh, it all happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Or, oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, ultimately, it all happens with reason. Do we give it? What reason we give it is what it's going to have. If my husband dying said to me, life is over, if that's what I believed, oh, well, that never going to love again, never going to have anyone in my life again, never going to do that again. That's the life I would manifest, right? If you're someone who believes that life sucks and then you die, guess what? Life's going to suck and you're going to die. If you are someone who believes, I mean, we want to be right, right? We always want to be right. And even if it's something lousy, we still want to be right. Oh, my uncle's a jerk. He always bothers me. He always bothers me. Yeah, you keep reinforcing that. And this Thanksgiving, when you see him across that table, he's going to bug you before he ever opens his mouth. Because that's your BS. That's your belief system. He's annoying. He always bothers me. He's going to keep doing it. Yep. He's going to keep doing it because you believe it. Because you believe it. And you're believing it is allowing it. It's feeding it. It's allowing it to happen. Now, that doesn't mean your uncle is going to change his behavior. What it means is you can say, and he can just do it. He gets drunk at every family event, makes an ass out of himself. There's no kids in the room, right? Because I just cussed. Okay. So he gets drunk every holiday and makes an ass out of himself. Why do you have to do anything about that? Why do you have to carry that as a responsibility? If you see it happening and it bothers you, you get to move from reaction of fighting with a drunk person. That's insanity because there's no logic in that. Or you can decide not to take part. You can even decide that it's time for you to go when you see the second beer cracked open. You get to decide what is healthy for you, what brings out your best and your thriving, without making yourself responsible for anyone else. And then we get to be grateful and thankful for the opportunity for growth. Then we get to heal and move through whatever wounding we've had around that in the past without that being a trigger that sends us off the edge. We get to decide. In First Thessalonians, boy, that's a mouthful for me right now. In First Thessalonians 5:18, it says, "Give thanks in all circumstances." Now, I don't know about you guys, but there are some circumstances that really don't feel, they don't engender this deep gratitude in me in the moment. They might engender confusion or anger or panic or pain or frustration or whatever. And we can still, even within that, even if it's, wow, okay, he got drunk again and he started doing that again. And this year I was smart enough not to engage. I'm grateful for that. It's not that we have to be grateful for all of the mess that happens. It's if we can look at the mess and find something to be grateful for in it, it changes what that mess does to us and through us, because we can choose to have a different outcome for ourselves only. I can't make Uncle John get sober. Can't do it. Can't do it for anybody else. And I can change what his drunkenness happens to make happen in me and in my life. I can try to get him help. I can do whatever I can. And then I can be grateful for the opportunity for that without getting myself enmeshed in it. We can find something to be grateful for. But here, and I think I'm probably going to run close to being way over time, but here's the thing. The universe doesn't speak English. It speaks energy. And so as we move into Unity's belief system, which is another form of BS that we get to decide what we embrace and what we don't in it, it's all belief systems, and we form our own belief system, and our belief system informs our life, okay? And if we want to take full advantage of this juicy, wonderful belief system that says we are co-creators of our experience and our existence, one of the things that we need to realize is that the universe is not listening to our words. It's feeling our energy. We can go around every day talking about how grateful and thankful we are. And if underneath what we're thinking about is how much we can't stand it, how much we hate it, how much we don't feel worthy of it, the universe, remember Charlie Brown with the teacher that was always wah, 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 wah. That's what the universe hears. Wah, 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 wah. And it goes, okay, the energy under that is I'm unworthy, or I'm not okay, or I don't have a right to be prosperous or loved, or whatever it is. We in Unity need to get in touch with the belief system that's driving the car, that's driving the life. Because when we do, when we tap into where the things are coming from, when we find out where they started, and we allow ourselves to know that we are here now, we've made it through, that we have an opportunity to see things anew and use them as lessons and blessings, the things that have happened before that hurt us or formed us or gave us these coping skills. We get to embrace them. We get to be authentically grateful. Thank God I made it through my upbringing with my alcoholic parents. Thank God. And for me, that's a truth. I had two alcoholic parents that I lived through. The joke in my family is that I was a feral child and I raised myself because I had to. Because by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you couldn't talk to my parents ever. And I get to say, wow, there's so much in that I can look back now and say, I have become such a strong person. I have become so capable. I created a family that does not repeat that dysfunction because I had the bravery to heal, and I embrace the possibility in making an even better future because I'm allowing myself to heal that and allowing myself to be with that. I get to authentically have the universe and God meet me in that energy. the energy of possibility, the energy of genuine gratitude for everything that I've been through, the energy of absolute joy about the possibility and absolute anticipation about what the future can bring me, because it's all in God and I can't wait for the blessings. If that's the energy underneath, you will be great, fully living every day of your life. So get out there and be great, fully living. Thank you guys so much for inviting me in. I'm so grateful to talk with you, and I hope to talk with you again.